The other day when I shot that video of the mag light clamp, it was like 20 degrees outside. Today it's close to 40. Well, you know, they always say if you don't like the weather in the Rockies, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. Or in this case, a couple days. But yeah, got the Suburban in the garage, got a piece of work to do, a couple boxes on the table, give you a clue. Kind of given up on an experiment. Those lights there from Blazer, A leader in the lighting industry, just are not doing the job at all. Coming down the canyon from Soldier Summit down into Spanish Fork, going down that canyon, realize these things with their little grid over them are seriously not meant for snowy weather. That was wet, slushy snow. It's stuck to the lights, and you try and get out and knock it off with a scraper, and that grid keeps you from really clearing the light, which means you have no light capacity. But given that those are generally the same size as these Hellas, which when you want to talk about a leader in the lighting industry, Hella is the leader in Europe. Australia uses them a lot too, I guess, but yeah. These are generally the same size, and I like, no, not that side, this side. They actually show it on a 90s GM truck. So yeah, it's kind of appropriate. But they're generally the same size. I would say this kit too, I've already opened it up, but you look at all the stuff that comes with it. If you're looking for a fog lamp, and these are in amber, if you're looking for a fog lamp kit, this is probably well worth the money, because it gives you everything you need. Relay, harness, switch, everything. Most of that I'm not going to need because I've already got a system in there. And I'll show you the way I've mounted it up. I don't know if I've showed this before. Oh, does that show up at all? But you got this bumper spar here. And if you can see in there, there we go. Let me get out of the way of the light. I got 2 bolts in that hold up. Oh, bad camera work, bad camera work. Let me get in there. You see you got a piece of C-channel cut to fit. And that just aims the light right out that opening in that PIAA spoiler thing. Freaking deflector shield on the front, whatever you call that. But yeah, so all I really need to do is disconnect these lights and hook those up, and everything is already all wired. The other thing I had in mind for part of this whole deal is not going to come to fruition today. I went and looked back on their listing too on Amazon. This looks like it'll be real cool, but it's K-Well, whoever they are. You know, I've seen several different brands stamped on this housing, but I like it because it's surface mount, and these are amber LEDs, so 6 amber LEDs in a 30-degree spot pattern. I went and looked at their listing again, and it gives the impression that it's lights plural, as in 2 of them. No, it's 1. Still not a bad price for it, and it's 16 bucks. But I went back, and this just shows when you don't read well enough, you end up with this kind of problem. Now I can't get them because they're sold out of the stock, and Amazon, of course, gives you that little thing. We don't know when or if it'll be back in stock, so this won't get mounted today. The idea for it was to go somewhere around here, down low, maybe under the tow hooks or something like that. But yeah, since I don't have 2 of them, I won't be doing that today. Here's a better look at what I was talking about, that C-channel. 2 bolts put into that bumper bracket, a hole drilled in for the bracket of the light. I'm not going to remove the bracket of the light because I have a theory here that might be proven wrong pretty quickly, but that looks like the same kind of mounting system as what's in those Hella lights. If it is, then this is real easy. But yeah. So just simple C-channel. It's a bent C-channel, so it's lighter weight than formed C-channel. But it actually up front ends up on the bumper tight enough that those 2 bolts hold it. Notice I'm moving the whole truck by doing that. It holds it nice and tight, keeps it there, and that actually gives you a spot to mount you a fog light under your bumper. Maybe that little trick will help you out if you've got one of these trucks. So my verdict is no, they're close, but not close enough, so I will put the new hardware on. What I like to see on this, focus, stupid camera, let's go the other direction. Made in Germany. This ain't no cheap Chinese stuff. So the whole kit was about $100 bucks, and it's probably worth it. The bulbs in their own little box. All the wiring and hardware that you could want. And some of that's a little thinner gauge than I normally go with, but this was curious to me. This relay actually has a built-in fuse on it. I use relay sockets, so that doesn't really work for me, but curious little deal. And all the similar to the switches I use, but not quite. I don't like the fully glowing ones. I like the just simple LED in there. Yeah, it comes with just about everything. Let me tear this apart and get this done. Now the funny thing is, these things aren't fundamentally that different. Plastic casing, the reflector and glass held together. This one though, instead of screws in the front, has screws on the side that actually go into something metallic. So they just pass through. So that's a better one. These, it's into plastic and you can strip that crap. As you see, I remember on that video I did on this one. And I did that with deck screws back then because I knew I was going to go this route. But fundamentally they're not that different. It's just the Germans put way more engineering into it than Blazer did. Case in point, that's the Blazer mount versus the Hella mount. Look how much thicker the Hella one is. I do like that these lenses will be totally open, so I can actually scrape them off. And the replacement on these things usually go around, depending on when you find them, anywhere from 25 to 40 to 50 bucks for just a single. So that's not too bad. That's SAE glass that should be able to take a hit or two. Very simple grommet in the back for the Blazers versus the Germans giving you this thing. Well, that focuses, but you got to poke your own holes depending on which wires you're putting in there. I guess you could put strobes in these, which that's an interesting idea maybe. But the socket on the back is not too different. Again, a little bit heavier material than the Blazer one with that thin wire crap that's a pain in the butt to mess with. And this, it's German, it just seems to be altogether better built. Better uber engineered. Okay, if you remember, the one thing I really didn't like about the Blazers is that's a rectangular hole, which means you can only get this in one way, and of course they have the slots there are also only one way. However, this one, nice big square hole, so all I got to do probably is just file little divots in there to make it rotate the chips to where they go east-west, not north-south, and especially since the way, I don't know if you can see that on this camera, but the shield inside that, it's definitely going to need to go east-west with the chips facing so that the light will actually go into the reflector. And that should, in theory, give you a wide, flat projection of the beam instead of just a big dispersal, and it should cut down the top and bottom, which is what you want a fog light to do, right? So yeah, I'm happy to see that. I just got to file these things up a little bit so I can make them fit the notch here and here. And it just has to go notches on the top sides. So a little bit of file work and I should have this done. Now I am tempted to just toss these in the trash, but for all intents and purposes they are still functional lights and I could use them somewhere else. Don't know. So I'll just toss them in that bucket that I've got in storage full of off-road lights that have come off other trucks I've owned and not made it back onto newer trucks I own. There's 5 or 6 KC 6-inch highlights in that bucket. These will join it there. Maybe see the light of day somewhere in the future, maybe not, but that's my pack rat showing. And what sort of redneck isn't something of a pack rat when it comes to things that still could be used? So I considered using a file, and that doesn't seem too easy. So I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive. Just got to be real careful not to cut my fingers off when doing this, but just a little buzz on the cutoff wheel. I should be able to wallow out little divots for that to face the proper orientation. Just before you ask the question, I don't see any way to disassemble this and turn it. This seems to be all pretty solid the way it is. But yeah, I'm going to do that. Alright, it fits. One thing to pay attention to, you can see it probably better the right background to you. See, the one on the left is more round, the one on the right is more square. So you do have to do a little bit of shaping to make it work, but boom, it's in. Let's do the other one. So while I can get away with doing that, notice there's a difference in the profile. That thing's got a big round cylinder, this thing's a little flat knob, and the Germans, using their superior engineering, made sure it only fits with that one. This one won't work. I don't see much of anything I could use to actually make that stick, like the Blazer one with that spring system or whatever, but I think I'm going to be using the old school incandescents then, which kind of sucks, but okay. Alright, there it is. Interesting thing is, these things have about the same color temperature as those LED chip lights that I had in there. And I think they actually fit those holes pretty well. It's pretty nice in there. Like the pattern on the garage wall, it does cut it off real low, keep it all low, which is exactly what I want. Which is what those guards inside the light are for. But that keeps it so that the snow doesn't blind the crap out of you as you're coming through that kind of snowy downpour or even fog. You keep it low below your line of sight and it doesn't blind you. And that's what I'm after. So the only question now is, since I put European fog lights on my truck, does it make my truck Eurosport? Don't know, you be the judge. But yeah, there we go. New fog lights installed. These will be better. Should be a lot easier to wipe the snow off of these things. I got to think about it too. The incandescent bulbs generate heat, which should keep snow and ice from forming on them. It should actually melt it off of them, I would hope. But yeah, I like them so far. We'll see when I go next week back up into the mountains and see what kind of weather we meet there and how much more these are, or how much better they perform. But yeah, till the next project, thanks for watching.